Have you ever experienced this? Na there's something you need to say, maybe to a team member, a client, a partner, or someone close to you, and you know that this conversation matters, but you keep delaying it. You think about it, you rehearse it in your head, you tell yourself na I'll do it later, but when the moment comes, you don't say it. Or you say something softer, something safer, something that doesn't fully express what you really want to say. And after that, anong nararamdaman mo? Parang may bit-bit ka pa rin. Because the real conversation never actually happened. If you've experienced this episode is for you. Most of us were taught that when life gets harder, the answer is to think harder. But many of the biggest breakthroughs in my life didn't come from thinking more. They came from understanding the mind and learning how to quiet it. If you're a business owner, leader, or professional dealing with stress, uncertainty, and the challenges that come with growth, you're in the right place. In this podcast, I share realizations about life, work, and the mind, and how quieting the mind helps us think more clearly, make better decisions, and take focused, effective action. Welcome to Realizations with Clarissa. Difficult conversations are not hard because you don't know what to say. Most of the time, they're hard because of what's happening inside your mind. I've seen this pattern in many people, especially those who are naturally kind, considerate, supportive, thoughtful. They care about how other people feel. They don't want to hurt others. They don't want to create conflict. They don't want things to become awkward. So when a difficult conversation comes up, instead of moving toward it, they hesitate. They delay. They procrastinate on it. And you might recognize these thoughts na what if they get offended? What if they take it the wrong way? What if I hurt them? What if this affects our relationship? And so on. So instead of saying what needs to be said, you adjust. You soften it too much. You delay it, or sometimes you avoid it completely. And here's the part that most people don't realize. The difficulty is not in the conversation itself. It's in the emotional pressure you are creating or your mind is creating around it. Because before the conversation even happens, your mind has already imagined all the possible negative outcomes. And because of that, anong nangyayari? Your body reacts. You feel tension. You feel discomfort. You feel resistance. So naturally, you avoid. O, wag na lang. O, wag na muna. But here's the cost. The issue does not go away. It stays. And over time, it builds. And this is where it gets heavier because when you keep avoiding difficult conversations, you start to feel something else. Frustration, resentment. You might notice thoughts like, bakit parang ako na lang lagi nag-a-adjust? O dapat alam niya na to. Dapat naiintindihan niya na to. Dapat alam niya na kung ano yung dapat niyang gawin. So now, you're not just avoiding the conversation, you are carrying the emotional weight of it. And you have expectations na laging hindi nami-meet. And that increases your frustration, your resentment. And I've experienced this in my own life as well. Dati, there were moments na gusto kong kausapin yung asawa ko to set a boundary, to clarify something, to be honest about how I felt, pero hindi ko ginawa. Because I did not want to create tension. I did not want to make things uncomfortable. So I stayed quiet. Or I said something partial, something safe. And every time I did that, I could feel the effect. The situation did not improve. And inside, it felt heavier. Because here's the truth. Avoiding difficult conversations doesn't protect the relationship. It actually damages it quietly. Because the relationship becomes less honest, less clear, less real. And here's something deeper. Why does it feel so hard to start? It's because part of your mind believes na if I say this, I might lose the relationship, the connection. So it actually tries to protect you by keeping things smooth, by avoiding discomfort, by staying agreeable. But that protection comes at a cost because real connection doesn't come from always keeping things easy. It comes from honesty, from clarity, from being able to say what's true even when it's uncomfortable. Now, some people might think, but I don't want to be harsh. I don't want to hurt their feelings. And that's valid. But notice this. There's a difference between being honest and being harsh. You can be clear and still be kind. So here's a simple shift. Instead of focusing on how will they react, focus on what is true right now that needs to be expressed. Because when you are clear, your message becomes simpler, less emotional, less reactive, more grounded. You can also start with something simple. You don't have to say everything perfectly. You just need to start. Even something like, can I share something honestly? I've been meaning to talk to you about this. And that's enough to open the conversation. And this is important. The longer you delay the conversation, the heavier it becomes. But once you start it, you often realize na it's not as bad as your mind imagined. And this matters a lot, especially if you are leading people, because avoiding difficult conversations affects performance. It creates confusion. It lowers standards. It affects trust. But when you are able to communicate clearly, things move faster. People understand expectations. Relationships become stronger. And people actually respect your honesty and your authenticity. So if there's a conversation you've been avoiding lately, pause and ask yourself, what am I afraid might happen? And is that happening right now, or is it something my mind is imagining? What if the conversation you're avoiding is actually the one that will make things lighter and easier for you? Difficult conversations don't become easier by avoiding them. They become easier when you understand what your mind is doing. And when you stop letting fear decide for you, you will notice that you can show up differently, more honest, more clear, more at ease. Now, if this is something you recognize in yourself and you notice that even when you know what to say, it's still hard to say it, that's exactly what mental fitness helps with. Mental fitness is the most effective foundation for clear thinking, resilience, and sustainable high performance. Because when your mind becomes stronger and less reactive, less fearful, you make wiser decisions, take focused action, and create better results with less stress. And for many people, this pattern of avoiding difficult conversations comes from automatic mental habits that create fear, pressure, and hesitation. And inside the 7-day mental fitness challenge, you will start to notice these patterns in real time when they happen to you. And you will learn how to shift so you can respond better even in uncomfortable situations. So instead of avoiding conversations, you can handle them with more ease and clarity and honesty. If you want to experience that for yourself, you can start the challenge today. The link is in the description. Kung nakaka-relate ka sa episode na to, follow or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. And if you know someone who might find this helpful, feel free to share it with them. And thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next episode of Realizations with Clarissa. And keep building your mental fitness. Because a stronger mind helps us live better and work better.